Good morning to a brand new day. Time to learn and games to play. Learning things is so much fun. Learning is good for everyone.
Oh, good morning, boys and girls. Happy Friday. Welcome back to our PBS classroom. My name is Mrs. Vane. I'm so excited to have you guys join me so that you guys can become amazing readers and writers. And boys and girls, I want to thank you guys for joining me all year long because you guys are excellent readers and writers. Now, don't forget that this is going to be our last week of second grade, and I know you guys have a couple more weeks, so continue learning, continue reading with your teachers, and don't forget to stay tuned because we have a fun summer series coming, so don't forget to check back into PBS, all right? Now I'm going to finish it off with my absolute favorite series when I was in school, and these are the Goosebumps series by R.L. Stine. Some of you guys might be familiar of the Goosebumps movies, but a long time ago we didn't have any movies and we read these books, and I love these books because this was a series that always followed a child character who gets themselves into some scary situations with monsters and supernatural elements. I loved reading about it. This book is called My Harriet's Adventure. And guess what? He's turning into a what? A werewolf. So if you want to read some Goosebumps books, summer is a great time to start because they are longer than the other books and they're a little bit harder, but I know you guys up for the challenge. So if you want to read some Goosebumps books, you can see if you can find it on Sora. If you have the Sora app, you can check it out at your county library or at your school library. Don't forget to keep reading throughout the summer so that you can keep your brain sharp and strong. Now, you know what another way is to keep your brain super strong and smart this summer is by doing some of these fun activity books. So if you don't have one yet, make sure that you're writing to me here in our PBS classroom with your home address or your return address, and I will send one of these out for you guys so that you'll have one to keep your brain super smart and strong throughout the summer. All right? Okay, boys and girls. Now, let's continue with everything that we've learned so far in second grade to wrap it up, because in third grade, you are going to continue using these strategies and skills to read longer words, what we say to read fluently. So we've been learning all about how to divide longer words into syllables. We've learned the 6 syllable types to divide words into syllables. Remember, this week we were practicing how to divide those R-control words into syllables, right? So before we get started, let's always practice our listening skills. You're right. We need to be able to listen for sound in order to read and write sound. So today we're going to be practicing our phoneme substitution, and we're going to be doing this with our syllables. So let's see if you guys can substitute a whole syllable to make a new word. Are you ready? Okay, ready? I'm going to use my squares and my circles to help us, as well as my dividing my dividing line. So here's my first word. Ready? My first word is sharpen. What's my word? Sharpen. Good. Sharpen. Now, I'm going to substitute the shar with just the O. Now, what's my word? Open. Good job. Open. Good job substituting. Okay, let's continue. Okay, now, what if I said this word? Waiter. Let's divide into syllables. Waiter, waiter, waiter. Good. Now I'm going to substitute that with a ing. What is it now? Waiting. What is it? Waiting. Good job. Okay, last one. Ready? Okay, say the word tearful. Tearful. Okay, divide into syllables. Tearful. Now I'm going to be a tricky one. Now I'm going to just substitute the first sound, the t, to a f. What's my word? Fearful. Good job, boys and girls. Fearful. Good job listening for those syllables and sounds. Okay, boys and girls. So now remember what I was saying earlier, we have been practicing our R control syllables. So now that we can divide words into syllables, that's going to help us when we are reading words. This week we will focus on the R control syllable. So let's quickly review our R control spelling pattern. We have the star card that says R, the shirt card that says the corn card that says or, the chair card that says air, and that ear card that says ear. Don't forget about all those spelling patterns that can make all those R control sounds. Now, again, if you come across a word, remember the rule is to put those R control spelling patterns together. Okay, so if I'm reading and I come across this word, I see the A-I-R. Did you see that? Okay, we're going to keep that together. I'm going to divide my my word into syllables. Now I can say, oh, that's just hair, and when the Y is at the end, we say E, hair. E becomes hairy. How did you do? Good job. Next word. Again, as you're reading, I see my AR. That's my R sound. Keep it together and divide your word. And now I can say artist. What's my word? Artist. Good job, boys and girls. Now remember, we're practicing really slowly, but as we read, your brain is doing this automatically, okay? Now, what if you wanted to write a word? Let's see. I wanted to write the word armor because I've been reading all my books, and now I want to write the word armor because there was a knight in my story. Armor. Let's divide into syllables first. Armor. Ooh, R. How do I spell that? A-R. Oh, you guys got it. A-R. And I'm going to use my A-R down here. Now, the next syllables, mer. Let's look at my shirt card. How do I spell it? Okay, I hear some E-R, armor. Does that look right? Oh, it doesn't. Guess what? Armor is actually spelled with the O-R, because remember, O-R can say also. Armor is A-R-M-O-R. You see how we have to see to check to make sure it looks right? I know, that's a great skill to have. The more you read, the better your brain will be at looking at those words and seeing them spelled correctly, because all the spelling patterns can get tricky. Okay, now that we focus all week, I have another story to read with you guys. Now, before we read our story, I want you guys to remember our fluency checkoff list. As you're reading, check to make sure you're reading the words correctly. We're going to work on our accuracy, working on your rate, checking to make sure you're not reading too fast or too slow, working on your expression so that you don't sound like a robot, and paying attention to those punctuation marks. I have a story for you guys to read today. This is a folk tale called How Bird Was Lured Away by Fire. And as you're reading, I want you to look for those R control spelling patterns as well as all the other syllable types that we've learned. And I want you guys to tell me how Bird lost his fire. All right? Let's read it together.
How Bird Was Lured Away from Fire. Bird was an odd creature. She had wings like other birds, but she could not fly. So she walked around the towns looking for food and drink. Wherever Bird went, her feet got tired. She dreamed about flying high up in the sky and looking down at everything below. One afternoon, Bird found fire on the ground. She hid fire under her wing, hoping to keep it all to herself. She did not want anyone else to mistakenly find fire. Soon, Bird grew tired and thirsty, so she went into a building to get a water bottle out of a machine. Bird went back outside to drink her water, but she had a difficult time opening the bottle. Just then, a scientist who worked in the building stepped outside. He saw Bird struggling with her bottle. When she raised her wings, the man saw fire. Bird has fire, he thought. Surely that is mine. Somehow I must get it back from Bird. The man thought and thought about how to lure Bird away from fire. At last, he had an idea. The man went up to Bird. Bird, we must talk. I saw into the future last night. I dreamed you were flying. This upset Bird because she could not fly, but she stayed to hear more. You stood high on a hill with your wings completely stretched out. A gust of wind lifted you up. You were flying, said the man. And there was no wire. You didn't have any trouble flying at all. Bird pretended not to care about the dream, but the next day she stood on a hill. She put fire on the ground. Then she stretched out her wings, looked ahead, and waited. Just then the man snatched fire and ran away. The man was happy again. Now he could use fire to help people of all cultures. He knew he could travel throughout the land and show them how to use fire in many safe ways.
Boys and girls, how did Bird lose fire? He was tricked by the scientist, wasn't he? Oh, I feel bad for Bird. But guess what? Scientist was one of our high frequency words that we learned this week. Now, don't forget, there were all of our high frequency words in that story, as well as all those R control syllables. So let's go and work, and let's go and learn our last two words for this week. Ready? The first word is trouble. Good job. Help me spell it. Trouble, trouble. Good job. Next word is throughout. Read it again. Throughout. Let's spell it. Throughout. Throughout. That's a long word. Now, let's look at my two sentences. Let's see which word will go into my sentence so that it will make sense. Ready? I had taking off my boots. What do you think it is? I had trouble. Good job. Taking off my boots. So that must mean, read it with me, he checked the time throughout the day. Does that make sense? Yes, it does. Good job, boys and girls. Let's quickly practice or read all of our high frequency words that we have learned this week. Ready? Trouble, throughout, wherever, scientist, ahead, everything, somehow, pretended, afternoon, and anyone. Awesome job, boys and girls. Okay, let's quickly finish up with our structural analysis with learning words with longer than 3 syllables. Remember, as you're reading, if you come to a word that you do not know, use all of the strategies that we've learned so far to divide those words into syllables. Like, here's that long word. I'm going to go respectfully, and guess what that word is? Respectfully. Just like that, I must respectfully decline try to read that word, check it with me, invitation. How did you do? Invitation. Good job, boys and girls. You guys are doing such a great job reading now and learning all of our sound spelling. And boys and girls, I'm so proud of you. Don't forget, even though this is our last day in second grade with Mrs. Wang, you still have some learning to do. And don't forget that, don't forget to read during summer, boys and girls, so that you will be ready for third grade to keep your brain super strong and smart. So I want to leave you off with thank you for joining me in our PBS classroom, as I am your PBS second grade classroom. And I want to say, don't forget, when things get hard, we say, I can do it. I am awesome. And always remember that Mrs. A believes in you. I do, boys and girls. You guys have a great summer. I'll see you guys in third grade. Bye-bye.
Good morning to a brand new day. Time to learn and games to play. Learning things is so much fun.